Good morning slash afternoon slash evening, everyone. I want to start with a simple but hard truth. We teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. If we cling to relationships, friendships, romantic partners, even family members out of fear, guilt, or a need for validation, we end up betraying the most important person in our lives, ourselves. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I love them. What if they change? What if I never find someone like them again? I get it. Letting go is painful. But here's what I want you to sit with today. Letting go is an act of courage. It's a declaration that says, I am enough on my own. The power of self-worth, you see, when we allow unhealthy relationships to stay in our lives, whether it's a friend who drains us, a partner who takes us for granted, or even a boss who constantly disrespects us, we are sending a message to ourselves. My comfort matters less than their presence. But that's not self-love. That's self-abandonment. Self-worth isn't about demanding that others see our value. It's about knowing our value so deeply that we walk away when it's not honored. The myth of scarcity in relationships, one of the biggest reasons we hold on too long is fear. Fear that we'll never find another friend who gets us, a partner who loves us, a person who makes us feel seen. But here's what I need you to understand. Love is not scarce. Respect is not scarce. Connection is not scarce. Scarcity makes us settle. It makes us accept the bare minimum. But when we believe in abundance, that there are people out there who will respect and love us in the way we deserve, we stop clinging to what's hurting us. Setting healthy boundaries, walking away, isn't about punishing others. It's about protecting yourself. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks that only open for those who respect them. We have to stop seeing self-love as selfish. Choosing yourself isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And clarity allows us to create space for relationships that truly nurture us. The role of vulnerability in letting go. Now, let's be honest. Letting go is messy. It's painful. It's full of doubt and longing and, sometimes, regret. But here's where vulnerability comes in. Dr. Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. That doesn't mean we don't give grace. It means we don't beg for the love, time, and energy that should be freely given. Vulnerability isn't just about opening up to others, it's also about being honest with ourselves. We have to stop pretending that holding on is strength. Sometimes, strength looks like walking away with your dignity intact. Space creates clarity and appreciation. Have you ever stepped away from something and suddenly seen it more clearly? That's the power of space. When you create distance, two things happen. You gain perspective, you see what was truly there, not just what you wanted to believe. Others feel your absence, and when someone truly values you, they will recognize what they lost. But here's the thing. We don't let go so they can miss us, we let go so we can find ourselves. The journey back to ourselves at the end of the day, letting go isn't about making them regret losing you. It's about making yourself proud for choosing you. It's about walking into rooms with your head high, knowing you didn't beg for a seat, you built your own table. So, I leave you with this. Love yourself enough to let them go. Let them miss you, but more importantly, let yourself find the peace, love, and joy you deserve. Thank you. When we talk about self-worth, we often think about confidence, achievements, or how others perceive us. But true self-worth isn't about external validation, it's about the way we honor ourselves, especially in relationships. When we stay in spaces where we are not valued, appreciated, or respected, we send a silent message to ourselves. I am not enough on my own. And that message is dangerous. Loving yourself enough to walk away from situations that diminish you is not selfish, it is necessary. It means refusing to beg for attention, time, or love. It means understanding that your worth is not measured by someone's ability to see it. Imagine carrying a priceless diamond and begging someone to acknowledge its beauty. If they don't recognize its value, does it make the diamond any less valuable? Of course not. The same goes for you. People treat us based on the standards we set for ourselves. If we tolerate being ignored, disrespected, or undervalued, we teach others that it's acceptable. But when we step away, when we choose ourselves, we reclaim our power. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care, it means you care enough about yourself to stop settling for less than you deserve. You said, Expand the second keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 300 words. ChatGPT said, one of the biggest reasons we hold on to relationships longer than we should is the fear that if we let go, we will never find that kind of connection again. This is what I call the myth of scarcity in relationships, the belief that love, respect, and companionship are limited resources. When we believe that there is only one person who will truly understand us or only one chance to experience deep love, we settle. We accept behavior that we shouldn't because we convince ourselves that something is better than nothing. But love is not rare, one-time opportunity. It is abundant, and the relationships meant for us will not require us to compromise our self-respect. Scarcity makes us cling to situations that deplete us. It makes us ignore red flags and tolerate mistreatment because we are more afraid of being alone than of being unhappy. But the truth is, loneliness does not come from being alone, it comes from being in spaces where we are unseen, unheard, and undervalued. When we choose to release relationships that no longer serve us, we open ourselves to connections that are rooted in mutual respect, care, and authenticity. Think about it this way. When you hold on too tightly to something that isn't meant for you, your hands are too full to receive what is. Walking away isn't about giving up, it's about making space. It's about believing that something greater is waiting for you on the other side of your fear. Instead of focusing on what you might lose, focus on what you will gain. 80% of self-worth, clarity, and the freedom to welcome people who will love and appreciate you in the way you deserve. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, they are about protecting your energy, your peace, and your emotional well-being. Too often, we confuse love with endurance. We think that if we truly care about someone, we should accept their mistreatment, tolerate their inconsistency, or continue giving even when it drains us. But real love, whether it's romantic, platonic, or familial, thrives within the framework of respect, and respect requires boundaries. When we fail to set boundaries, we teach people that our needs, feelings, and time are secondary. We allow relationships to take more from us than they give. But here's the truth. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your limits. The ones who don't will make you feel guilty for having them. And that distinction is powerful. It tells you who is truly meant to be in your life. Setting boundaries is not about changing other people, it's about changing how you engage with them. You cannot force someone to treat you better, but you can decide what you will and will not accept. You can communicate your needs clearly and walk away if they are consistently ignored. This isn't selfish, it's self-respect. Many of us struggle with boundaries because we fear losing people. We think, what if they leave? What if they get upset? But a relationship that falls apart because you set a healthy boundary was never built on mutual respect in the first place. You should never have to sacrifice your well-being to keep someone in your life. The right people won't just tolerate your boundaries, they will honor them. Because when you love and respect yourself enough to set limits, you attract relationships that reflect that same love and respect back to you. You said, expand the fourth keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 300 words. ChatGPT said, letting go is one of the hardest things we do as humans because it requires us to step into vulnerability. It forces us to sit with the discomfort of uncertainty, loss, and change. Many of us avoid letting go not because we don't know we should, but because we are afraid of what comes after. The truth is, releasing someone from our lives, whether it's a friend, a partner, or even a family member, can feel like stepping into the unknown, and the unknown is scary. But what's even scarier is staying in a space that no longer nurtures us out of fear of what's next. Vulnerability means acknowledging our emotions rather than suppressing them. It means allowing ourselves to grieve relationships that we thought would last, even when we know deep down they are no longer healthy. We have to give ourselves permission to feel sadness, anger, and even regret without letting those emotions trap us. Growth comes when we learn to process our pain rather than letting it control us. Many people think that holding on is a sign of strength, but true strength lies in knowing when to walk away. It's in having the courage to say, I deserve more than this. Vulnerability does not make us weak, it makes us honest. It allows us to recognize when we are staying in a relationship out of fear rather than love. When we embrace vulnerability, we stop seeking validation from people who refuse to see our worth, and we start validating ourselves. Letting go is not a failure, it's an act of self-love. It's not about pretending you don't care, it's about caring enough about yourself to choose peace over chaos, self respect over desperation, and healing over attachment. You said, expand the fifth keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 300 words. ChatGPT said, stepping back from a relationship, whether it's romantic, platonic, or professional, creates space for two important things: clarity and appreciation. When we are too close to a situation, emotions cloud our judgment. We make excuses for people's behavior, justify mistreatment, and convince ourselves that things will change. Letting go is not just about walking away from someone else, it's about walking back to yourself. Too often, we lose pieces of who we are in relationships, especially when we try too hard to make them work. We compromise our needs, silence our voices, and shrink ourselves just to fit into someone else's world. But when we choose to let go, we are making a powerful statement. I am reclaiming myself. This journey back to ourselves is not easy. At first, it can feel lonely. There will be moments of doubt, moments when we wonder if we made the right choice. But healing is not a straight path, it is a process of unlearning unhealthy patterns, rediscovering our worth, and building a life where we no longer need to seek validation from others. Instead of focusing on who is missing us, we start focusing on what makes us feel whole. In this process, we reconnect with the things that bring us joy. We rediscover hobbies we neglected, relationships we overlooked, and parts of ourselves we had forgotten. We begin to realize that our happiness does not depend on whether someone stays or leaves, it depends on how we treat ourselves. When we love ourselves enough to let go of what no longer serves us, we open up space for what truly aligns with us. True fulfillment doesn't come from being missed, it comes from knowing that we are enough, regardless of who is in our lives. When we embrace this truth, we no longer chase people who don't value us. Instead, we attract those who respect, appreciate, and uplift us. Letting go isn't just about losing someone, it's about finding yourself again, and that is the greatest love of all. You said, give me conclusion of entire speech. ChatGPT said, letting go is not about winning or losing, it's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing when a relationship no longer nurtures you and having the courage to walk away, not with bitterness, but with self-respect. Love should never require you to beg for attention, shrink yourself, or tolerate less than you deserve. When you step back, you allow space for clarity, healing, and appreciation, both from others and, more importantly, from yourself. You do not let go to make them miss you, you let go to find yourself. You let go because your worth is not defined by someone else's ability to see it. You let go because you are no longer willing to trade your peace for temporary comfort. And when you finally choose yourself, something incredible happens. You stop chasing, stop pleading, and stop settling. You become the person who no longer waits to be chosen because you have already chosen yourself. And that, my friends, is the most powerful love of all.